they're going to look at your social media before they look at your company website.
Kyle Draper had a great thing. If you wouldn't share that at like a coffee, probably not something that you should be sharing online. People, they crave knowing the person because everything's so electronic. They crave that personal connection. And so knowing the person behind all of this becomes super relevant and super important.
If they Google you and they see nothing, or they go to your social media and they see nothing, then you don't exist. Marketing is extremely important. The distance between the haves and the have-nots in real estate is becoming wider and wider.
Google yourself. If you don't instantly know what you do from a quick Google search, I'm talking first couple links, then it needs some work. And people want to get to know you. They don't care so much about the home you just sold or the house the new listing you got, or the fact that you closed in 3 days or whatever. They don't care about any of that. They care about you.
People start to recognize you.
It is a weird feeling. And, it's just one of those things that, hey, look, it's working. People in the marketplace, the people that need to see it, find it. And, I'm instantly recognizable to this person I've never met in my life. I've talked to Kyle Draper on the internet 30 times or more. I've never met Kyle Draper in person, but I met him this weekend, and it's like we were buddies for years. Social media is completely free. You can reach almost an infinite number of people on Facebook. To everyone listening, you do not hate social media as much as I do. I promise you. I hate it. I wouldn't have it if I wasn't in this business. And it's a necessary evil to me, but it is free marketing.
All right, guys. Hey, obviously things look a little bit different today. We are in the process of moving studios, so we're kind of in between. So we're going to do this. I don't know for how many episodes, maybe 1 or 2, but we'll get our studio adjusted here pretty soon. But anyway, I don't know. To me, I think it's great because it gives us an opportunity to change things up a little bit, be a little more conversational, and so I'm looking forward to doing something a little different and excited, especially as we're closing in. Can you believe it? Next episode will be 100 episodes. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
So we've been at this for just a little while. By the way, if you haven't seen us before, you can go back, make sure you like and subscribe, and then you can go back and watch 100 episodes and shorts. And we got tons of content online that you can take advantage of. I mean, just about everything we know on real estate and more, because we've interviewed lots of people. So feel free to go back and go through that stuff. But today, I just want to talk about something that you and I really have changed up. And one of the things that I like to tell agents specifically is when it comes to marketing, marketing for your real estate business. And marketing, generally speaking, is a moving target. So for instance, like I think it's interesting when they say, hey, if you go to college for marketing, by the time you get done with college from year 1 to year 4, everything's changed.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, what are you actually learning? And so traditional, marketing, I'm sure there's lots to be said for fundamentals, but really marketing is a test of what's working and what's not. And so wanted to share, we've spent probably the last 2 to 3 weeks in a marketing experiment based on some advice we've gotten from different coaches. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about what we're doing and a little bit about what those results look like and all that stuff. Ariel, anything you want to weigh in on there?
I think it's great. Obviously, this is one of our channels where, it could be free marketing. So, social media is completely free. You can reach almost an infinite number of people on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook. So it's an opportunity to talk about free ways to market yourself that you just, before Facebook existed and before email was as regular as it is now, it just didn't exist. So let's jump in.
Well, that's a really good point. And I would even just say, take that back just a little bit, because typically what used to happen, I mean, the world has completely changed in the last 20 years and probably even in the last 5 years. But in terms of, you used to have just like a couple of marketing channels, right? You had, what was the newspaper? You had some television advertising, you had some radio advertising, but you had these mediums where you would advertise. And now, one of the challenging things about it is there are marketing channels or mediums all over the place. There's Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and whatever, and all this stuff can become incredibly overwhelming So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, right? The great thing about it is your marketing is free. You have to spend nothing for it. The challenging thing about it is that it's like, what do I do? What do I do and where do I do it?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of agents just get overwhelmed because if you're listening to the crowd out there, they're going to be like, well, you need to do Instagram and Facebook, and then you need to do Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. Actually, TikTok's the new best thing. And look, I don't care. You can probably make an argument for any one of them. Okay. What I would say right now for anybody, and this is something where I may have even scaled back on a bit, is find one.
Yeah.
Find one.
I agree.
And do it well.
It's also made businesses and in commerce just national and in some cases global, obviously. But, I think about it, like we're both the same age. Like when I bought my first car, I paid $600 for my first K5 Blazer, 1976 K5 Blazer. And what did I do, right? I went and got the newspaper that morning, brought the newspaper inside, looked through the classifieds, found the vehicle within like a 10-mile radius, went and bought it, and that was it, right? But now, like you want a vehicle, you can search nationwide. They'll deliver it to you. You can get a vehicle from California living on the East Coast or vice versa. It's nuts. Yeah. So, and you stay in touch with people from previous lives, and maybe somebody moves to your, locale and they lived somewhere else and they're moving and they get to know you through Facebook. We just recently hosted a class with Kyle Draper. I've probably talked to Kyle Draper on the internet 30 times or more, like direct one-on-one with you. Yeah. And I've never met Kyle Draper in person, but I met him this weekend, and it's like we were buddies for years. And so, it's just one of those things where it really allows you to connect with people in a way that you couldn't, otherwise have done. And really on a deep level too, because they see your face, and that's the most important thing. You can't get that on the telephone. Right. You can only get it when somebody sees your face. And so again, like I didn't know Kyle Draper, but as soon as we met, we kicked off like we had known each other for 20 years.
Right. And I mean, I would even say if we have increased our marketing in terms of podcast, right? Because our podcast really is, it's going to be, through, your sort of typical streaming devices for podcasts, but we also do YouTube and YouTube Shorts. But one of the things that's increased for us is just recognition out there in the marketplace. And I know you've had this before. You're sitting down to dinner, or I've had this, and this isn't sort of an ego thing, but it's just kind of a cool thing that happens is that people start to recognize you, right? So you might be sitting down to dinner, and they're like, "Hey, you're RL, right? I watch your podcast." So you've had that happen at Waldo's Chicken,
It's a weird feeling. My wife and I and kids were all sitting down to dinner, hibachi restaurant. This happened like 2 weeks ago. And this lady came up and tapped me on the shoulder. I'd never seen her in my life. She said, "Hey, is your name R.L. Hessen?" And I said, "Yes, it is." And she said, "Do you do a podcast with somebody named Brandon?" I was like, "Yes, I do." He's like, "I watched the podcast." It is a weird feeling. And, it's just one of those things that, hey, look, it's working, right? People in the marketplace. She was an agent, obviously. People in the marketplace, the people that need to see it, or, find it. And, I'm instantly recognizable to this person I've never met in my life.
Yeah. So it gives you a sense. Also, it gives you a sense of presence with your existing sphere of influence, because I mean, everyone is using it all the time. And so here's what I'm going to tell you. We're going to give you some tactical advice today. But the other thing that I would tell you is you have to do it. And that is the hardest part. I can give you advice all day long on exactly what to do, but the problem is you have to actually carry it out. You actually have to do it. And really what we are coaching agents in our brokerage and agents that in our coaching program is, hey, listen, I want you to do exactly this, and I want you to do it a minimum. This is hard because it's going to blow some of your mind, what I'm about to say. A minimum of 3 times a day. That's where it gets difficult from a conceptual perspective, but it's not as difficult in practice. Would you share just a little bit about, and we're going to get into the specific tactics of what we do, but would you share your experience? Because you're not a big poster.
Yeah. I mean,
we've talked about before. Yes, we have stuff on Instagram. Yeah, we've got YouTube Shorts. We've hired that out. But you personally, on your personal Facebook page, you really haven't. This is relatively new for you.
Yeah. So I'll make a promise first.
Okay.
To everyone listening, you do not hate social media as much as I do. I promise you.
Yeah.
I hate it. I wouldn't have it if I wasn't in this business. And it's a necessary evil to me, but it is free marketing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I called you the other day. Now that we've ramped up our social media marketing as kind of a, proof of concept to other agents.
Yeah.
It actually isn't that bad. Like once you get going, your brain starts to think of things that you should post in a different way, and it just starts to flow. And first, when you post, it's like laborious, right? Like I got to figure out what I'm going to say or what I'm going to post, and then next thing you know, like your day comes at you, and like agents are asking me questions or sending me, something like, "Hey, like would this person qualify?" And then I can find something to post out of that. You're just walking around just going about your day, and the posts just start flowing. And then you get to a point where you're like, man, I can't post this many things in one day. So I got to save stuff for the next day. So I'm a very private person, outside of my wife. Probably most people don't know much about me. I just don't like to share. I talk to Brandon 3 times a day, 365 days a year, and he probably doesn't know as much about me as
That's probably true.
as other people. Yeah. So, it's just one of those things where I don't like to share, but it is free marketing, and people want to get to know you. They don't care so much about the home you just sold or the house the new listing you got, or the fact that you closed in 3 days or whatever. They don't care about any of that. They care about you. And so it's once you start to find things to post about, it just starts to flow, and you almost have trouble, at that point, shutting it off.
Yeah. I mean, I have these like idea waterfalls where I'll just keep a, like in the notes on my phone, just keep it like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to save that for future posts. And then I can kind of go back and reference it. I've got one that I'm sitting on, or I have been sitting on for a little bit, that I'm kind of still working on it, which is going to be a heavier, a little more personal post that I'm working on. So once you start conditioning your brain for marketing, it becomes easier. And that's like anything. I can tell you, man, if you would have told me, I don't know, 5 years ago that we would have a podcast with as many subscribers as we do, that's cranking out shorts every day, and we are getting thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of views, I would have gone, I don't even know how that's possible. Like I can't conceptualize of how that would have been possible 5 years ago, because I don't know the things to do, because we get caught up in sort of the tactical stuff. But I can tell you, once you do it and you continue to do it, it becomes, there's almost like a second nature that takes over. It just becomes a part of your daily practice. And the great thing about marketing is it's always working in the background, right? I can do those things in the morning, and that is working for me all day long. It's keeping me in front of people all day long. And I think that's one of the best things about it.
Yeah. Honestly, we've always posted quite a bit through the Agent Bridge, but never to our personal pages. It's just something that we started just, again, as a proof of concept to other agents. Right. You've been going at it for about 30 days now. I started about 2 weeks ago. But, it's one of those things where on your personal page, you were probably getting a couple hundred views a week, maybe on your personal page, because you really weren't posting that much. I wasn't either. And, in 2 weeks' time, I'm hitting, 60, 70K views. You're hitting 100,000 because you've been at it for 30 days. Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like, that's slow. That it starts to ramp up a little bit slow. But then once your posts start to take off and people start to re-engage with some of the posts you made, a few days ago, all that stuff really just creates a storm, and people are, and then it gets shared more often, and through the Facebook algorithm, more people see it. People that you aren't friends with at all, if you're public, like Brandon and I are, we switched to public, so all the posts are public. Yeah. People you're not even friends with see it if they think, if Facebook thinks that they might engage with it. So it really just starts to widen your network, and then Agent Bridge or whatever your line of business is that you're trying to grow with your post aren't just hyper local; they become more regional or hopefully national. And,
well, what if? Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't.
No, I was just saying, and that's really the goal for Agent Bridge now. For real estate purposes, maybe you can't get national, obviously, but just becoming well known in your region is super important.
Okay, if I hold this up, see if you can see it. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't know. Yeah, shoot. Okay, I can't see it. All right, well, that's okay. But basically, what I'm looking at right now, and what I was attempting to do, is to show. So basically, currently my views are at 107,455, up 62% from the previous 28 days. My engagement is at 13,100, which is up 96%. Over the previous month, and then my net followers is 16, which is up 60%. So again, that's just a proof of concept of what we're about to teach you in terms of how this works.
And honestly, it measures in a rolling 28-day window, and I've only been at it for 14 days, and mine's at 70,000 is at the views. The reach is at
you're at 70.
Yeah, 70. Okay. The number of engagements is at like 9,000. So, just behind. Yeah. And again, I'm not even at that 28-day window yet. So it really, it's really powerful.
Yeah, it is. There was something else though. It was talking about, personal brand. Okay. Because if you look at any thing out there anymore, right? You used to have back, 20, 30 years ago, you had the company brand, correct? So it's like, you work for Coca-Cola. That's huge, right? Or you work for, it's like who you worked for was the big thing. Well, now, and I think a lot of this, and we can sort of speculate it, all the reasons why, but because of social media, the personal brand has become as important or more important than the company brand. And so all that to say, it's like you have to basically establish a personal brand. I think, the days are gone of the Century 21 gold jacket, right? And nothing against Century 21, but that was a company brand. Oh, you work for Century 21. And I think now, because of the prevalence of social media, when you are taking on appointments with potential buyers or sellers, they're going to look at your social media before they look at your company website.
Yeah, honestly, I would have to guess that has something to do with the fact that people now crave, they crave knowing the person because everything's so electronic. So like when you meet someone, it's mostly over the internet. Mm-hmm. And you only get to know them through the internet or through social media or whatever. And so they crave that personal connection. And so knowing the personal brand or the person behind all of this becomes super relevant and super important.
Yeah, exactly. And so, again, what are people going to see? And if they Google you and they see nothing, or they go to your social media and they see nothing, then you don't exist. Because that's where people are going first, right? Who is this person? I mean, think about the last, the people that you meet. Typically what you do is you're going to go, it's like, hey, if I want to know about something that I'm about to buy, something I'm about to sell, something I'm going to go look up this person on social media. Those things matter. My daughter is buying a car right now, and she's going on all these, Auto Trader and all that stuff. But my wife, is right behind her going, all right, well, how many reviews or how many entries do they have here? And what's their rating? And well, okay, that looks a little bit shady. And so all of that stuff, I'm just saying, like, what your appearance is online matters more in today's marketplace than ever before. And so that's one of the reasons, we wanted to do this as proof of concept for you guys, right? So you could see what we're doing and emulate that. We wanted to increase our personal brand, but also just the concept that this is, I get that this is a little bit of a game that we're playing here in terms of, what it takes to win in today's marketplace. And marketing is extremely important as we get to this place where it's like the distance between the haves and the have-nots in real estate is becoming wider and wider, right? So if I haven't made the case enough, then you haven't been listening. All right, so let's get into the tactical part of it. Which is,
real quick, we did an exercise with our brokerage, and I think you should do the same to anyone that's listening. Google yourself. If you don't instantly know what you do from a quick Google search, I'm talking first couple links, then it needs some work. Whether that's a Google My Business page, whether that's setting up your profile on your online, whether it's LinkedIn or whatever's hitting first for you, fix it, because people need to instantly Google you and know this is what this person does.
Yep.
All right, go ahead. Right. Let's go to tactical.
Okay, so the tactical part of it is so there's so many directions that you can go. However, there are two things that are going to work really, really well for you. But one of them, which we need to talk about from the get, is going to be the copy. What's the text that you're using to talk to people? Okay, so we're going to dismiss for a second, because you're a professional. I'm going to dismiss cutesy Instagram stuff, because you can be viral, but that doesn't necessarily lead to money. So I want to focus on the things that are going to build your personal brand, get people to know who you are, right? And you can throw some funny stuff in there, and I throw some funny stuff in there too. But we need to focus on really the content of the stuff that you're posting and what is that content doing. And so first, the content needs to fall in one of three categories, okay? Inspirational, educational, or personal, okay? Inspirational, educational, or personal. Now, in ranking of those three in terms of what's going to get the most attention, personal by far, 2 to 3 times the others, okay? But your personal stuff is going to help you feed the other things. All right. So again, like yesterday, I wrote a little something for my wife. That's going to, because it was her birthday, that's going to get just the most stuff naturally, right?
Yeah. I wrote a stupid post about having to get a new change from contacts and having to get a new style of
massive engagement on that. Yeah, by the way, if you haven't noticed, RL's got glasses now because he can't read without them. I have glasses now too. But anyway, so I can't make fun of him too much. But yes, you're right. That thing about you in your glasses. But why do you think that went so far?
People got to know me, and people related to it, because you saw a ton of people that were like, "Oh, I had to get progressive lenses recently too," and yes, I'm in my mid 40s also, and I can't see, and I'm falling down in the dark like RL. It's just one of those things where, people relate to it. That's the bottom line.
Now, I want to give you a word of caution though on the personal, which I think it's good to have personal, and I think it's good to be relatable and real and authentic, right? But I don't think it's good to be a sad sack. Don't be a sad sack, right? And what I mean by don't be a sad sack is you know exactly what I'm talking about. People that are getting on there and be like, hey, I just want to be honest for a second. My life is falling apart, and this and that and whatever. Okay, that's not going to get you anywhere. And I'm not saying you can't be real. I'm not saying you can't be authentic. I'm not saying you can't share that you're going through something hard or whatever the case may be. Okay, I think it's good, right? But you don't want to be a sad sack. Does that make sense to you, RL? Because I've seen it, I'm like, okay, that was too far.
I mean, people, you want people to feel good when they associate whatever posting it is with you. And so I'm not saying you should only filter and share the things that you think people want to know. I think you should be real. But to get on there and to go Debbie Downer on it, I think is a little too far. Mm-hmm. I think those are conversations best had one-on-one. Kyle Draper had a great thing. If you wouldn't share that at like a coffee with some dads or moms in your mom group, and then it's probably not something that you should be sharing online.
That's right.
And so, and I don't mean a coffee one-on-one. I mean a coffee in a group. So if you wouldn't share it in a group of people, like it's too vulnerable or something, then it's probably not something to share on Instagram.
That's right. So just be cautious. But again, the personal thing is about authenticity, which is going to go the furthest. The second thing, right, which would be the inspirational post, which is something that's generally encouraging to people. And if you are running dry on what to post that's inspirational, that tells me as a coach you're not reading enough. You need to be reading, right, or listening to positive things, right, that encourage you, that uplift you. And so all of that becomes a feeder for, number one, your mindset. I just want you to be in a healthy mindset, by what you're putting in, right? I had to this morning, I got on on YouTube or something, and I was watching a video about a couple of people arguing, which is really attractive. I'm like, this isn't really doing anything positive for my mental state. So I needed to kind of step away from it. Okay, so you want to be putting things in, right, through reading or through audiobooks or through podcasts, like this one, things that are good for you, that can feed you, right? And that's going to help you come up with that inspirational content. Okay. The third would be educational content, right? And educational is just going to be like, hey, what's going on in the marketplace? So
this one should really be easy because you people really don't know much about the real estate process, mortgage, things like that. They don't know as much as you think they know. And so creating educational posts, even though you think that it's common knowledge, it's probably not. And so these posts should be rather easy to create. And honestly, people love educational posts because, again, they don't understand, the ins and outs of the real estate market. And so coming up with something like that, it is important. And I would say this is another place not to be a Debbie Downer. This is not the time to say the market sucks, interest rates are high, it's really hard out here, we're not making any money. Like, those are not things to say. I am a member of a golf club. I play golf a lot, and everybody who I associate with that is in some sort of line of work around real estate, whether it's a real estate agent, mortgage person, title, whatever. I hate sitting at the table when 15 people are surrounded and we're having a beer after a round or whatever, and this one person is like, "Hey, like the market sucks, like I can't make any money right now, like this and that." Like, the people around you think that they're going to use that person? No. Why would they?
No.
Because this person, all they have to do is say negative things about the real estate market. So don't go on the internet doing that. Find educational things that you can state about current market statistics and state them. Don't try to make opinions about how negative it is.
One of the things that's been happening, and you guys who are not on the Agent Bridge private page, can we put a link in the show notes on that? If you're not on the Agent Bridge private page, come join it, because we give you the stuff to use, and we have several agents that basically just copy and paste, right? And that's what it's there for. If you want to just take it and use it, it's just as a resource to you. That's for free. It costs you nothing. We just want to we don't want to contribute, and take it and reword it. I don't care. I won't be offended. You took something yesterday that I did and reworded it into more your style. I think that's great. Okay. Although I did source the content from you.
I was going to say.
I sourced the content from you. I wrote it, and then you kind of took it and then rewrote it. So yes, it was a collaborative. We'll say
it's collaborative. I'll go with that. I'll
everybody get to see that eye roll, because that's pretty much our whole existence as friends, is me saying something and you rolling your eyes. But anyway, but that's what it's there for. So take it and use it, and feel free. But again, so educational, inspirational, and personal. Personal is going to be number one. Inspiration is going to be number two. Education is going to be number three in terms of views, but you want all of them together. Okay. The second thing that I want to tell you is photos. Okay. The still photo. Now, I've tried this. I've wrote really good content with photos of something that is, I don't know, a tree or kayaking down a river or whatever. Here's what I can tell you, and this is and RL, as much as you would hate to admit this, it's the ones with people in them, right? Typically your face, that are going to get the most attention.
No question.
Do I like posting selfies of myself? No. But is it part of the game in terms of what's going to get a lot of attention? Go ahead.
You'll think this is funny. I made a post yesterday. Content was good, but I had to come up with a photo to use for it.
Okay.
We are at yesterday was May 15th, 2025. I had to go back to October of 24 to find a picture in my phone of myself.
Yeah.
That someone had sent to me. Yeah. That's how far back I had to go to find a picture of me. So yes, I get it. Posting pictures of yourself on the internet, weird. It's very weird, especially in certain circumstances, like working out or doing these other things. I think those are just weird posts. Makes me feel weird inside.
Yeah.
But you got to get it done.
Well,
they do get way more engagement.
I hate to say it, it's like, it's one of those deals where I don't want to be the workout post guy. Okay. The narcissistic workout photos. But they freaking work, I mean,
Yeah.
I hate it.
They can be
But
inspirational and educational at the same
yeah,
time or
that's
whatever.
right. And so I usually, what I sort of use to balance that, though, that was kind of what's in my mind, is like, hey, look, if I'm providing pretty good like inspirational content as a part of that, then it's going to come off differently than if I'm just posting gym photos of myself, like an Instagram influencer. The other thing that I'll say is like, hey, I'm not an expert in working out. Like this is just something that I do to stay healthy. Right. And so, I feel better about it as long as I'm posting something that is encouraging others. And then also maybe just talking about that journey for me, what's difficult for me on that journey, not that I've got it all together, because I don't. So I think as long as you kind of balance that with a little bit of inspiration and humility, I think it's okay. And that's just me speaking from the heart. But I'm just not the person to just post, flex photos just because, anyway. But moving on from that, back to the copy. One of the things that also works, which I feel like is maybe like it might be perceived as contrived. However, it's another thing that works, is the ellipses and that first line of your Facebook post being that's the only thing that's visible. So it's like the subject line of the email. It's what's going to get somebody to click on it. So if you think of that first line of your Facebook post and the content that you're going to post as the subject line to an email, it needs to be attractive, right? It needs to be something that's going to get somebody to open up and engage with. And so if you go back on I think what was the one that you did, like when you put the glasses, you go, well, it happened. ...
It needs to be a hook, incomplete thought, ellipses. So hook, incomplete thought, ellipses. And the reason is your brain naturally wants to complete the thought, wants to understand what like the complete thought. So if you put all of it in there and didn't break it up with the ellipses, then people would have all the information they need and might not click. So it's hook, incomplete thought, ellipses.
So I'll just give you an example. The last 3 that I did was this one practice will improve your life, ... Okay. The one that I did yesterday, this really annoys me, ... The one I did for my wife's birthday, it would be hard to explain, ... Right. So that ellipses, okay, again, it's the thing that's going to get somebody to click, engage, like, whatever, comment. Yeah.
This one thing really annoys me is a perfect example, right? So if I'm sitting there reading that, I'm like, hey, do I do that one thing that annoys Brandon? I got to see, click more. Like, am I doing it? Or possibly, hey, what is one thing that annoys Brandon? I'm curious. Or, there's just a lot of reasons people are filling their brains with ideas about what that might say. And so they have to click it. It's just the natural reaction.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but what's interesting is the feedback that I get in person, since I've been doing this for 3 weeks, is very positive. People are like, hey, I really like the stuff that you're putting out there. It really is inspiring. I like that, how you change your style, or I like this, or I like that, or it's always like one of my highlights of my day because it's encouraging. So even though I feel kind of dumb about doing it or feel like it's a little bit contrived, it just works, right? And so part of this episode is us telling you honestly, like, what's going on in our heads, because it's probably the same thing that's going on for you.
Yeah. There's a couple more pieces of effective posts. So you have the incomplete thought and the ellipses. The first line needs to finish the thought. Mm-hmm. So, what I've been doing, and it's been working really well, is sometimes if you don't double space after the kind of initial line, it'll put more of it before the more button. Yeah. And we don't want that. So, you do the first line with the incomplete thought, ellipses, and then hit enter twice.
Yeah.
And then start to complete the thought with the first line. And then you really want to use short stacked sentences to keep it consumable and people moving through, because what you're trying to do is drag them to the bottom. Because most often people are going to read the first sentence, they read the very last line to see if it's something that interests them, and then they go fill in the content with the rest. Mm-hmm. And as opposed to, we really want to drag them down through all of the content. So those short stacked sentences really drag you to the bottom because it's consumable and people can read it really quickly. Mm-hmm. And so their eyes just tend to move, kind of quickly to the bottom because everything's easy and consumable to read, rather than just this big, massive paragraph And people are like, I'm not reading all that.
I talked to Kyle about that. We had an event a couple of weeks ago, and I said, Kyle, why does this work? I don't get this. Why is this? Because it feels dumb. It feels overly simplistic. Why does that work? And he goes, well, when somebody opens your post and they see a bunch of jumble, right? Like if it's a paragraph that's right from the get, then their brains are overwhelmed. They're like, I don't even really want to get into that right now.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I go boom, double space, boom, double space, boom, then it is consumable and it doesn't overwhelm the sort of functional parts of your brain. So that's why, because that space is perceived as more consumable by the brain. Okay, so it's just human nature. So if you're, and that's one of those things where, because people will emulate, they'll go, oh, I want to do like you do it. And I'm like, look, if you get it a little bit wrong like that, if you take all that content, you shove it into one paragraph, you just lost, right? Nobody's going to read it. But so that's why we say is like, it seems dumb, but space it out and stack it. That way it's consumable and more people will read it. I promise you, it's just human psychology.
Yeah. The other things that are great to drop in there would be like social proof, like for us, maybe like we recruited 30 agents in 15 days or something like that. Yeah. Or credibility statements about why people should listen to you, top 1% agent in, Franklin, whatever, or calls to action, something you're trying to get somebody to do. So all those things can be added in there depending on what type of post you're doing, whether it's educational, inspirational, or whatever. So yeah, all that stuff is like candy.
So I just want to give an example or something. This sort of just popped in my mind because we say this over and over again if you're a podcast listener, but instead of just doing just listed, just sold, tell the story of that thing. So tell the story of the transaction or the story of how it came together. So when you're doing that, again, I would rather you take a selfie in front of that house, okay, with your sign in the background and be like, and then say, I had to learn this again during this transaction, ... Always prepare, or always disclose, or always whatever, make sure you're doing this, or because my sellers did this happened, XYZ, right? So we're building the story of the lesson that you learned or what your sellers did that worked great, what was difficult that you, are improving in your process. Those are the things that are going to stick out to people versus you'd be like, hey, we just sold this in 3 days because I'm awesome.
Yeah. We had an agent in our
nobody's learning anything from that. It's not interesting.
No. We had an agent in our social media class the other day that had a good example. It's like she asked if it'd be okay to tell a story, about a situation where she had to crawl under a house to find a mobile home's VIN number. And I was like, yeah, that's a great story. And her question was more like, am I going to give away too much for my sellers? And I'm like, just take all the personal information out of it. Nobody knows if it's, Jane or Carl. It's a story. And if you're ever curious, you can always ask your clients if it's okay to share if you take all the personal information out. If they say no, don't do it. But honestly, we tell stories all the time on our podcast, and they're real stories with real people in them. But we just pull the personal information out.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so you're not exposing anybody if you're not talking about if you're not saying their names and tagging them in the post. If you feel uncomfortable about it, ask them if you can tell the story. Say, hey, I'm not going to tell you names, but I just want to tell the story because I think it'd be good for social media, and most people are going to be, yeah, that's fine.
I mean, that communicates, for her example, that communicates that you're a hard worker, you're willing to do anything to get to the closing table. You want the deals to succeed. It communicates so many different things to so many different people rather than just, hey, just sold picture.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I would encourage that. So let's just kind of recap where we are. First of all, just choose one avenue, right? Whether it's Facebook or whether it's Instagram. I like Facebook for this thing that we're telling you about because it's going to create more engagement. And Facebook, generally speaking, is a more engaging in terms of conversational, right? Because you're going to have conversations on Facebook. Are you going to have conversations on Instagram? Probably not.
I mean, honestly, if you're in your mid-40s, everybody like us is hanging out on Facebook, not Instagram.
Well, that's true. And then the other thing is, like, any of you younger people that would push back on that, I'd be like, okay, well, that's fine for your generation, just as long as you're interacting with someone that's actually buying a house, that has a job and is buying a house. If you're as long as you're in a place where you're attracting those people, right? Specifically for real estate, right? This is about business. So it's not about being cool. It's about getting business. Okay. The second thing, so again, we're like in Choose Facebook, you're moving towards, right? First, just start each day. If this gets you going and you go, okay, Mondays I'm going to do educational, Tuesdays I'm going to do inspirational, Wednesdays I'm going to do personal. Fine. Just get that going. But what we're going for is 3 of those a day. And what RL and I are moving towards, which is hard, this is going to be like backbreaking, is 7 times a day. Okay. Now, that's going to be, it's a heavy lift. Like, we know that. But basically, start with 1. The goal is 3 for any professional, that this, like, you're treating this like a job. That's 3 times a day. And then if you're like wanting to elevate like through the roof, it's 7. Okay. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you've said this before. Kyle Draper said this before. Social media is like a river, right? You throw it in, it's gone. And so you're going to make these posts and you're going to think nobody wants to hear from me 7 times a day. Not every person that you're friends with is going to see all 7. But you're going to see 1, 2, maybe 3. And maybe one of those old ones gets cycled back to their feed later on in the month, whatever. But it's not just going to constantly shove you in their face unless there's someone that they've favorited. Like, you're someone that they've favorited and they want to see all your content, and maybe they see it all then. But guess what? Those are the people that want to hear from you 7 times a day. That's so right. You're not worried about the people that are going to unfollow you. You're not worried about the people that are going to hate what you have to post. You're worried about the 50% that are going to like what you have to say, that want to get to know you, and that would likely do business with you. That's what you care about. That's right.
So, all of that to say, great copy, educational, inspirational, and personal, moving towards 3 times a day. Use the ellipses, stack your copy. If you need ideas, go back on my page, go back on RL's page, follow us, go take it. It's there for you. Take it, change it. As long as you follow the format, it should be fine. And then the last thing that I will say is consistency, 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 consistency. If you don't do this frequently, it's not going to add up to anything, right? So you need to sort of just settle in. Again, are you going to be a have, or are you going to be a have not in the new market, right? And this is just what this market is going to require of you. So you have to square that with yourself and own that your outcome is going to be affected by whether you're marketing or not in today's world, in today's real estate market. Your outcome is going to be dependent upon your marketing and your lead generation, right? But you have to market. So just make sure you own that as a part of it. And if you don't do that, then you have nobody to blame but you. Well, never do you have anybody to blame but you, but especially as it pertains to this particular thing. Any final words from you, RL?
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part is getting started. I mean, nobody wants to do this, or most people don't want to do this,
right?
And so, so to get out there, to put yourself out there, to make those posts, it's the hardest part is getting started. You don't have to go straight to 3 times a day if it's really difficult for you. Just post something 3 to 4 times a week to get going, and you'll start to get in a little bit of a rhythm. Increase that to twice a day, then 3 times a day, then 5 times a day, then 7 times a day. And it will get easier and easier. I promise you. Again, I hate this, and ideas just start flowing. So just get going.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. We're going to come up with something great for episode 100. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us, leave a comment on whatever platform. We will see you guys soon. Thanks.